before we get into the songs, we're going to play the clips of the new material you got, and we're going to talk about songwriting process, production, whatever you want to talk about with those songs. But before we get into that, I wanted to ask you, you started out like all musicians do, local scene, and
Mhm.
then you went statewide, and then you went regional, and now you're touring all over the country. You're based in Nashville, it's the music capital of the world. What has been the biggest difference going from the small pond to the big sea?
Dude, that's a great question. There's so many wonderful things about both ways of doing it. Because like you said, I was in Brookhaven for a long time, and then I was in Oxford for several years. And those were wonderful scenes to be a part of, really, really great. And to this day, there are things that I would tell an artist in those cities to appreciate about being in that situation. That said, Nashville's been a lot of fun. I am, like I said, small town kid. So for me, being in a big city is still somewhat of a new experience, and the novelty and the access to just some of the unique things you get when you're in a major city is still something I really, really enjoy. And at the same time, Nashville is a small world, and I would say one of the cool things is um, how many people I've gotten to know that I used to listen to before I ever moved up here, even chances to play with those people in real time. And I do think that is part of why a person would move to a place like Nashville is like to be on the ground and, you go to the gym and you see 3 touring artists, on the treadmills next to you. Anyway, so there is this hub of, musicians, and so you're just always around, great people and, your network can expand so much. And one other, thing about Nashville, it's very practical, but it's kind of interesting. You know me, I'm a geography nerd. I mean, you look behind me, there's like a topographical map of Tennessee. This whole room, actually, the theme of it is places. I'll spare you the tour, but like all my art has to do with places I love. Music and places, I guess. But anyway, one interesting thing about Nashville though is it is within like 600 miles driving distance from like over 50% of the country's population. So it's an incredible place to tour from just logistically because so many metropolitan areas are at your fingertips. It's like even cities in the Midwest that sound far really aren't, like Indianapolis or Louisville, Kentucky, or Cincinnati. So, it's funny, I'll play in Chicago next month, and to me, that sounds so far away, and it's the same distance as my hometown is from here. They're both 7 hours away. That also speaks to what long states Mississippi and Tennessee are, but, it's a funny thought. So, all that to say, being up here has been fun, and it's definitely been inspiring. If you're a small market musician, listening, could tell you 20 things that rock about that there you can appreciate. But Nashville made good sense for me at the juncture that I was at, and I've really, really liked it.
Excellent, excellent, dude. Yeah, you've mentioned this before to me. We've talked, not on camera or anything, just personally
Mm.
about the proximity of Nashville to all these places, and I was blown away. But
Yeah,
you're totally right. It's so close to so many different places, and like you're going to
yeah,
Chicago, and that's the same distance
yeah.
as it is to get back here. It's like that's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
and for that reason, artists who live here and tour, they really only have to leave for more than weekend runs, if they go to the West Coast. It's like basically everything on the eastern half of the country and even middle America can be done by, leaving Thursday, come back Sunday. And so it's like the only time people have to get out for 2 weeks is if they're going to play, California and Seattle and all that. So, which, I think as the whole world is kind of trying to figure out healthier, more affordable ways to live and especially for, mental health and stuff, I think it's like a lot of artists realize, okay, having a rhythm of like weekend run, weekend warrior touring actually works pretty darn well. So Nashville's a great place to do that.
Right, right, absolutely. So let me ask you this: is there any drawback to having
Mm.
moved from?
Yeah, yeah. Dude, that's a great question. I would say one thing, and there's so much talent everywhere. Mississippi produces crazy amounts of talent. But naturally, as a hub for musicians, Nashville, like per capita, has a crazy amount of talent. And so I would say one of the drawbacks is um if you're in a non-music city, you s you just have more interactions with people where they're amazed that you could do that. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Because we all, as musicians, what we can do is so unique and it's amazing. And to be able to play an instrument well or write a beautiful song or sing well, that's a rare skill that not everyone has. And if you're not in a music hub, you kind of constantly encounter people's reaction with that. Whereas in Nashville, there's some sense of like, well, I know 20 amazing musicians, like, so it's kind of funny. Like you're kind of looking at the world through a distorted lens and you can kind of forget until you leave town how special your skill set is because, um, there's just so many more people who do exactly what you do, if that makes sense. So I do think if you're in a small town, uh, the, um, you might get a little more wind in your sails from people around you just because there's less people doing what you do.
yeah, great, and I never thought about that. I was curious what your answer to that question was gonna be, and
Yeah,
that was so interesting because but you're absolutely right, and like, that's one of the reasons that I never even considered going to Nashville 'cause it's like,
totally.
you know, I'm pretty comfortable with being like the guy like in Jayess,
Totally.
the
Yeah.
Jayess guy,
Yes,
because it's like
totally.
it's me and Kyle Graves, like we're
Totally.
we're it, and he's in pedal now, so it's like so that's
Yes.
just me. So yeah, that's great. Love that man, love it, man.
Is this just the way